Now, the United States is negotiating a UN Security Council resolution that proposes a temporary ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war, while opposing a major Israeli ground offensive in the city of Rafah. But it is not clear when the draft resolution will be put to a vote. So far, on all the UN actions on the Israel-Hamas war, the United States has consistently rejected demands for an outright ceasefire. International concerns have been heightened by Israel's plan to storm Rafah, where over 1 million Palestinians are sheltering. All EU countries except for Hungary have called for an immediate humanitarian pause in the war. So far, though, the European Union has struggled for a united response against Israel's military operation. But now the bloc's foreign policy chief, Josep Borrell, has said that 26 member states have agreed on a statement demanding a halt to the fighting that would lead to a sustainable ceasefire. The EU countries have reiterated their calls to Israel not to launch an assault on Rafah. Israel, on the other hand, is warning that unless Hamas frees all the hostages, its offensive will continue even in the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. War Cabinet member Benny Gantz has said that the Israeli army is ready to push deeper into Rafah during Ramadan that starts on March 10th. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization has completed a second evacuation mission from Gaza's Nasser hospital. The UN agency said that efforts are still continuing to transfer the remaining patients. The WHO said that the site has no electricity, no running water, while medical waste and garbage are creating a breeding ground for all sorts of diseases. On the northern side of Israeli border, the conflict with Lebanon is also escalating. At least 2 Israeli airstrikes hit southern Lebanon near the coastal city of Sidon. We earlier spoke to Dov Zakim. He is the former Undersecretary of Defense in George W. Bush's administration and currently senior advisor at Center for Strategic and International Studies from Washington, D.C. Listen into his insights.
Yes, it's a change in the sense that the draft resolution that is being put forward by the United States at the UN Security Council has the words ceasefire in it, first time ever, at least in this round of fighting. So that's a difference. Now, there is another resolution that's far more one-sided in the American opinion, and that's the Algerian resolution that simply calls for an end to the fighting, says nothing about the hostages, and the United States is going to veto that one. But mentioning the ceasefire is terribly important. Now, it's conditioned. First of all, the term apparently being used is practicable ceasefire, whatever that actually means. Secondly, it does say that the hostages all have to be released, something like what Gantz just said, and you quoted him, that they need to be released as part of this arrangement. And not going into Rafah, well, obviously, if the hostages are released, there's much less of an excuse to go into Rafah, and so the United States is very explicit about that as well. So there is a change. Clearly, it reflects the frustration of President Biden, who's been constantly telling Mr. Netanyahu to agree to a ceasefire and help to get the hostages out.